Hi, I'm Dave Pex here for another video. Someone asked me to do a review on my James Bond coin collection. So I said, sure, why not? For those who don't know me, I used to watch James Bond a fair bit when I was a kid. Not much these days, but it's always in my memory. And James Bond franchise has always been something I've enjoyed watching and collecting. So I'll be going through my Perth Mint coin collection. So these coins here, there's a set of 25 plus a bonus coin. Each coin is made of 1 ounce of pure silver, and each coin represents each of the different Bond movies. That's the Eon production, the official Bond movies. So all up, there's been 25 Bond movies made from 1962, the first one being Dr. No, all the way down to the most recent one in 2021, which was No Time to Die. So 25 Bond movies over a period of 60 years. And each Bond movie came out, of course, with a movie poster. And then each movie poster is now depicted in a coin. So I'll show you what I mean. I'll go through it. Now, each of these coins was actually released every month for a period of basically 25 months. So over 2 years, it took me to collect this coin collection. So you got every coin separately, and then later on they gave you the box, and in the box you were able to store the coins. So I'll show the storage of the coin. Hopefully the coins don't fall out. If they do, I'll collect them. So hopefully you can see that. See if I can bring it a bit closer. So they're all the 25 different coins. Plus you'll see right at the end here, there's a bonus coin down there. That's a very, very small 1 gram gold. So that coin is pure gold. So it's a lot more expensive. Gold is a lot more expensive than silver is. A lot more expensive. I think if I could probably go through the equivalent, if 1 ounce silver coin was around maybe $100, a gold coin would be around 4,000 in the same weight. So it's very expensive gold compared to silver. So these are all pure silver with the different colors. So I'll pull each one out and I'll go through each one in the order that the movie was released. So the first one there is Dr. No. Hopefully you can see that and I'm not too far. So Dr. No was the first movie released in 1962. It's a Sean Connery movie. Sean Connery played Bond. So there's that one. The next of the Sean Connery era that came out was From Russia with Love. Great movie. In my top 5 movies of all time, From Russia with Love. That's a Sean Connery movie there, From Russia with Love. The third coin, people arguably say this is probably the best Bond movie. I wouldn't say it's the best, but it's one of the most iconic Bond movies. It's very iconic. A lot of things are introduced in this Bond movie, including his famous Aston Martin, DB5. But here's the Goldfinger coin. Sean Connery's third coin as 007. So each of these coins will have the Queen's head, Queen Elizabeth II's head on the back, because all these coins were minted from Perth Mint when Queen Elizabeth was Queen. So the monarch is put on the back. And this is actually a currency. You can actually use this country in the country of I think it's called Tuvalu. Tuvalu, it's an island. It's a small island. And the value of this coin is 50 cents, Tuvalu. But it's worth more than 50 cents because this is pure silver. It's worth over $100 at least. I don't know how much it is now. I can't even remember how much I paid for each of these coins. I think the whole set cost me all up around $2,500 Australian for the whole set, all up. But silver prices have gone up a bit. All right, so the next one is Thunderball. So Thunderball is Sean Connery's 4th movie. So there we go, that's Thunderball. Then Sean Connery's 5th movie. If we can get this one out. You Only Live Twice. Great movie. I wouldn't say it's one of my top 5, but I've got a special spot for this movie. It's filmed in Japan. Great movie, You Only Live Twice. Now we're actually leaving Sean Connery just for a little bit because Sean Connery decided to quit being James Bond after 5 movies. He had enough of it, really. So the Australian actor George Lazenby took over as James Bond in his first and only James Bond movie in 1969, On Her Majesty's Secret Service. So this features the one and only movie that George Lazenby featured as James Bond. He quit being James Bond after this movie because his manager told him, you shouldn't really do another Bond movie because you're going to be stereotyped. Man, that was the biggest regret of his life, listening to his manager. I would have fired that manager. So, On Her Majesty's Secret Service, this movie actually, Bond gets married. It's the only movie in which James Bond gets married. I don't know if he gets married in No Time to Die, but definitely officially married. We see a wedding and everything in that movie. So, basically, after George Lazenby quit, Sean Connery was approached again, and he was offered at that time this is 1971, I believe, to come back as James Bond, and he was given a sweet $1 million to come back as James Bond in the movie Diamonds Are Forever. This was Sean Connery's last Bond movie, or official Bond movie, part of the Eon production franchise. He got paid $1 million. So that's $1 million US back in 1971. It was actually the highest paid, it was the Guinness Book of Records at the time, as the most an actor's ever been paid in a movie. Sean Connery then quit, and we started the Roger Moore era. So this is Roger Moore's first ever movie as James Bond. It's not a bad movie, this one. It is called Live and Let Die. We're now in the 1970s. So the first few movies, including up to On Her Majesty's Secret Service, was filmed in the 60s. And then from Diamonds Are Forever, we're now in the 1970s. Roger Moore's first ever Bond movie. Roger Moore ends up doing the record of 7 James Bond movies. So there we go. That one there is Live and Let Die. All right, next Bond movie featuring Roger Moore is The Man with the Golden Gun. There we go. The Man with the Golden Gun. This movie, the main villain in this movie is the famous British actor Christopher Lee, who features as Francesco Scaramanga, the main villain in this movie. So that's The Man with the Golden Gun, Roger Moore's second movie. Now we're going through, the more I watch this movie, the more I actually enjoy it. But it's Roger Moore's movie, The Spy Who Loved Me. There we go, Spy Who Loved Me. Features the Bond girl Barbara Bach, who's actually the wife of Beatles musician Ringo Starr. So there we go, Roger Moore's, what are we up to? Third movie, The Spy Who Loved Me. I think this is Roger Moore's best Bond movie, personally. I think that's his best, this one here. All right, next one is Moonraker. So Moonraker, it's filmed in the late 70s. We're still in the 70s. There we go. Moonraker, featuring Roger Moore. Now, the thing about Moonraker, this movie wasn't actually going to be the next Bond movie. Here's a trivia fact for you. It was actually going to be For Your Eyes Only. But what had happened was there was a big movie that came out this year, or that year, the same year as this movie. And that movie was called Star Wars. Star Wars came out, and Star Wars was a massive, big culture blockbuster movie. And of course, those who know Star Wars, it's a movie featured in space. So the Bond franchise thought, let's jump on the space movie aspect and let's do Moonraker. And Moonraker is, I would say a quarter of this movie is actually filmed in so-called space. Whoops, I dropped my coin. So that's Moonraker. To jump on the hype of Star Wars. Now we're going to the next one. I don't mind. I think this is Roger Moore's second best Bond movie, For Your Eyes Only. Great soundtrack, For Your Eyes Only. There you go. So we're still in the 70s, and after this is Roger Moore's last Bond movie in the 70s, and the next one we're going to move is the 1980s. So there we go. That movie there is For Your Eyes Only. I'm not too sure if you can see it, but zoom into the video and pause it. I might just quickly, I don't know. I might do a zoom up later. All right, next one is we're in the 1980s now. 1983. Oh, actually, 4 Year Olds Only was the 80s, I think. Oh, sorry. The next Bond movie is of Roger Moore is Octopussy. Octopussy. There we go, Octopussy. First ever Bond movie I ever watched when I was a kid. I was probably 5 years old when I watched this movie. It came out in 1983. I was born mid-80s, so it just goes to show how long I've been watching James Bond. I was 5 years old when I saw this movie. First ever Bond movie I watched. I've watched this a lot of times, Octopussy, but a great movie. Filmed mainly in India, that one. Now we're going to the last ever of Roger Moore's Bond movies. The 1985, the year I was born, movie. Oh, this one's a bit stuck. Here we go. This is A View to a Kill. A View to a Kill, this one, 1985. It also features Christopher Walken in this movie. He's the main villain. And Grace Jones, the singer, she's the main Bond villainess, female villainess in this movie. So it's Roger Moore's last movie, 1985. Now, Roger Moore, I think Roger Moore was born in 1927. So it just goes to show how old he was in 1985 when he did this movie. I think it was 1927. Anyway, around then. Now we're moving into the next Bond era, which is the Timothy Dalton era. Now, Timothy Dalton started off as Bond with, in 1987, I think it is, A View to a Kill. Great movie. One of my top 5 movies, A View to a Kill. Timothy's first of second Bond movies he did. There we go. A View to a Kill. Mainly filmed in Vienna and somewhat Afghanistan, this movie. Great movie. A View to a Kill. The Living Daylights. There we go. All right, next one is Timothy Dalton's second and only other Bond movie, which was called License to Kill. License to Kill was Timothy Dalton's second movie. This is 1989, I'm thinking, around that era. License to Kill is probably the only Bond movie where Bond doesn't actually have a mission, part of MI6. He actually goes rogue. He becomes a rogue agent in this movie, and it's more of a revengeable movie than a mission movie. But a great movie, great action. Love this movie, A View to a Kill, followed by The Living Daylights, and now we're up to License to Kill. Robert Darby is actually, the actor Robert Darby is the main villain in this movie. All right, so now there was a bit of a break. There was a bit of a break through the Bond era from for about 4 or 5 years until we got our next Bond movie, which is now we're starting the Pierce Brosnan era. So Pierce Brosnan, everyone knows Pierce Brosnan. Great actor, Mrs. Doubtfire, but the Thomas Crown Affair, but mostly famous for GoldenEye. Great movie. GoldenEye is also, you'll maybe have heard of the video game GoldenEye on Nintendo 64, which was a classic game on the Nintendo 64. If you had a Nintendo 64 when you were younger, you would have had GoldenEye. It's a great multiplayer game for 97 it came out, around there, 97. So a great game, GoldenEye, great movie. Alec Trevelyan is the main villain, who's 006 in this movie. Sean Bean plays Alec Trevelyan, so the actor Sean Bean, he's a very well-known, famous actor. Everyone will know Sean Bean as well. So Pierce Brosnan's first Bond movie, GoldenEye, in my top 5 of the best Bond movies, I think. One of my favourite Bond movies, GoldenEye. Great movie, great video game. That's GoldenEye. All right, next one we're going to is Tomorrow Never Dies. Tomorrow Never Dies was actually the first Bond movie I saw at the cinema. Oh, whoops. I might as well show you what I've just done because I've stuffed up a bit. So basically all the coins are in a plastic kind of seal case. But that's what the coin looks like without the plastic seal. So you can kind of, let me see if I can just hold it like that. There we go. So that's what each coin kind of looks like. It's very silver. Show the back. Very polished kind of coin. So this one here is Tomorrow Never Dies. It probably feels a bit heavier than a 50-cent coin, I would say. But that's silver. There we go. That's pure silver. 99.999% silver. There we go. So that's Tomorrow Never Dies. Put that one back in the case. All right. Next one is The World Is Not Enough. Oh my goodness. This one's kind of stuck. Hang on. Bear with me for a second. All right. The world is not enough. Sung by Beautiful Garbage. The World Is Not Enough is the last Bond movie of the 90s. 1990s, I'm pretty sure. What's the next? Yeah, because Die Another Day came out in 2002. So the last Pierce Brosnan movie of the 90s. We still got one more Pierce Brosnan movie to look at until we enter the next century. And that is The World Is Not Enough. There we go. Check that coin out. All right, and the last of the Bond movies for Pierce Brosnan in 2002 to celebrate 40 years of James Bond. We're at Die Another Day. This one features also Halle Berry as the main Bond girl, Jinx. Die Another Day, I'm going to say right now, is the worst Bond movie on my list. Out of all 25 Bond movies, this one is a total joke of a movie. Pierce Brosnan's last movie, he was starting to hit his age in this movie, and Halle Berry was terrible. But anyway, that is Die Another Day coin. All right, now we're moving into the Daniel Craig era, the most recent Bond movie. Daniel Craig started off as Bond in 2006 with Casino Royale. Now, Casino Royale, the movie is named after the first ever Bond book made or published or written by author Ian Fleming. So Ian Fleming created the James Bond character, and the first book he wrote was Casino Royale. A lot of people would put this movie here as the best Bond movie ever. And you know what? I'm not going to argue with you if you have it. To me, it's top 5, definitely. It's not my number 1, but it is a fantastic movie. I think it's the best Bond movie of the modern era, of this millennia. Casino Royale, great movie. There we go. Part of the first of Daniel Craig's run of James Bond. He ends up doing 5 Bond movies. We'll get through each one soon. But that one is Casino Royale. Now, just be mindful, all the Daniel Bond movies, the next 5 we're going to look at, are one big, massive storyline. There you go. All right, now we're going to I call it the expansion movie of Casino Royale, Quantum of Solace. There we go. Quantum of Solace is Daniel Craig's second movie. Like I said, it's more of an expansion of Casino Royale. Kind of flows onto that movie. There we go. Quantum of Solace. All right. Next movie. A lot of people have this movie as one of their favourite movies of the Bond era. And that's Spectre. You all know Spectre. It's sung by Adele. When the sky falls. Oh, not Spectre. Sorry, Skyfall. Skyfall's the next one by Adele. What did I say, Spectre? Skyfall is the next third of the Daniel Craig movies, sung by Adele. Let the sky fall, when it crumbles, we will stand tall, face it all. There we go. So that's Skyfall. A lot of people like this movie. I think it's okay, but Casino Royale is a better movie. It's probably Daniel Craig's second best Bond movie. All right, 2 to go. Next one is Spectre. I had a lot of hype for Spectre because Spectre, the movie Spectre is actually named after MI6, or James Bond's biggest rival evil organization called Spectre, with his biggest arch enemy that appears in the most Bond movies as his arch enemy, Ernst Stavro Blofeld. But it was a disappointment of a movie. They really killed it. Could have been a lot better. I could have wrote a better movie with Spectre. You finally get the rights to Spectre after decades, and you don't do anything with it. All right, and the last Bond movie that we have, which is just before 60 years of Bond, this is 2021, is No Time to Die. So this is the most recent Bond movie. As you might or might not know, Bond has now, the producers of Bond has sold the rights to Amazon. So Amazon own MGM Studios, who make the Bond movies, and also own the creative control of Bond. So we'll see what's going to happen now with James Bond moving forward, now that Amazon is owned by, Bond is owned by Amazon. So that's Daniel Craig's last movie. He won't be playing Bond anymore. So we'll have a new Bond and a new Bond movie with a new organisation owning the James Bond franchise. And then the last coin I've got here, it's quite small, but this one's a bit different. It's all it says is 007 Bond, James Bond, with the iconic James Bond symbol. But this one's made of pure gold. So that's why it's so much smaller, because gold is so expensive. So it's basically, I'm not sure if you can see it, but gold is very heavy. It's very heavy. I've got some other pure gold coin. And it's a lot heavier than you probably think it is, but that's the last one. So that's it. That's the Bond coin collection, all up. What I might do is, I might just stand it up here, like and I'll just kind of zoom in a bit on it. Hang on a sec, let me just take it off the stand. Sorry for the reflection of the lights. Yeah, it's a bit hard, isn't it? It's a bit hard to see because the lights are reflecting on it. But it doesn't give it justice. You have to see it here live in the flesh, these coins, because they're a bit hard to see because of the silver that reflects a lot in the light. But this is just a bit of a taste. Oh, I've put some upside down and some crooked. Anyway, so that's my video. Sorry it's a bit long, this one, but I hope you enjoyed seeing my Bond 25 60th anniversary coin collection. I'll see you all in my next video.